Hey everybody, it's Austin Ward for Lettermen Row, back with another BuckIQ, back in the trenches with our man Reid Fragel, former Ohio State tackle, NFL tackle, and let's talk about a new tackle. This guy, Nicholas Petit-Frere. Reid, it's still early in his career, 5-star talent, redshirted, went through some of those, it's never easy to come in and play right away. Went through some of those growing pains trying to get ready and then turn in a pretty good spring.
Yeah, and especially on top of that, you add another piece to the equation that he's got to put on about 30 pounds. And
I did that too.
Intentionally or unintentionally?
Yeah, not on purpose.
But yeah, I think it's just kind of seeing his progression this spring, and since he's came onto campus, it kind of just brings me back to making the transition myself from tight end to tackle and having put on the same weight that he's had to put on this past year. And it made me kind of want to vomit a little bit, just reliving those days where you were basically having to eat and eat and eat when you're not even hungry anymore. So you kind of throw that on top of trying to learn a new offense, trying to fit in amongst a great group of guys, high caliber competition out there. It's just amazing to see how far he's come so far, and I'm excited to see him this season.
Yeah, he showed up around 260 pounds, and that might be fine at the high school level, but in the Big Ten, you're going to have to put on some of that weight. And as you said, there are a lot of things that Greg Studrawa and those guys have to teach, fundamental-wise, playbook. It's a pretty daunting process, I would guess, for linemen, more so than anybody maybe realizes.
Yeah, and I think it falls back on a lot of what Coach Marotti does behind the scenes that you don't really get to see, obviously, out in the field. But he does a phenomenal job with the guys, with their diets. The nutritionist does a great job with the guys there. So a lot of that is behind the scenes, and as maybe Petit-Frere's mentioned in his interviews, it's something that he will wake up and have to eat a meal, and it's a lot of things that you don't really, it's not glorified, but it's stuff that has to be done to make that leap, so to speak.
Yeah, that's the off-field stuff. We've got now a little bit of footage from him on the field that we can break down. Petit-Frere out there starting at right tackle in the spring game. Big things expected for him heading into the summer, where he's still going to eat, still going to keep working out to try and win that starting job in training camps. Reid will break that down for us right now once we roll the tape. All right, Reid, we always throw this caveat up here. It's a spring game. Maybe it doesn't make the greatest bit of difference for evaluating, but it's all we have. And, they are still throwing some real blocks here. So we're seeing what you break down. It's also a pretty intriguing matchup there with Zach Harrison. So just let us know what you learned here.
I think for a guy coming out as a freshman especially, this is the first real setting you have in a game environment. So don't overlook for most guys out there that have played before in games, yeah, maybe it's not the biggest stage, but for a guy like Petit-Frere coming out, this is the first time he's playing in front of a large audience on Ohio State's field. So for him, it is kind of a game situation. But what I saw on the spring game from him is a great use of hands, his athleticism on the edge to ride guys by. He never looks like he's ever caught behind, and granted he's going up against one guy the whole time, but the patience with his hand, his punch, and how he settles down with his feet here, it's just, I think for a guy at his early stage in development, is huge.
You touched on this right off the top, Reid, that he just looks bigger to you, and that's maybe we talked about what he's eating. How quickly do you notice that change in a guy, and does it happen over? You need a year, 2 years before you really can feel comfortable with that body?
I mean, it's all different. I think for me, it was a crash course in 1 year. So maybe it's similar for Petit-Frere here, where he went from 268 to 298. He's putting on near 30 pounds to. Some guys would be uncomfortable with that. Their bodies might not adjust as quickly as others, but for him, everything I'm seeing on film, he looks pretty dang comfortable out there with his size right now. And I mean, he's only going to put on weight from here.
Is it tougher to get down the responsibilities and pass protection just because it's the set and the footwork that you've talked about before,
Sure.
Not just maybe going after somebody to hit them and run blocking?
Well, I think the high school level especially is different pass pro-wise. Obviously, there's different systems all over the country, but for the most part, I think pass pro is significantly different from college to high school. The speed of the game obviously is way different, but you'll see a lot of chip help. Maybe that's to get them kind of comfortable early on from the tight end. You see some chip help there to maybe get them comfortable to start in the game, but I mean, he does a great job, like you'll see here, riding guys by. His feet are right there with his hands. So at 298, whatever he's at right now, you're seeing him move really, really well as a freshman especially. I'm really excited about him moving forward here.
When you look at these spring games and maybe 15 straight practices going against the same defensive ends, maybe that gets tiring or gives you an advantage or whatever, but you still have to start somewhere, and these are pretty significant reps because Ohio State's so deep on the defensive line.
that's where I think you can't look past this as just, it's a spring game. Yeah, you're playing against the same guys. But, yeah, those guys you're going up against aren't so bad themselves. So for him, especially to come out here and get some good looks against some great defensive players, you'll see him move up to second level here pretty well, seal that off. I think it speaks volumes for a guy like him. I think you oftentimes can look at this film and forget that he's a freshman coming in. So I see nothing but upside in his future, especially as the stronger he gets. I think you're looking at, I don't want to speak too soon, but a top 2 round draft pick. I mean, honestly.
That's what they were hoping when they went and got him. 5-star recruit, go down to Florida and get him. And I think you see this as an example why, and then the way this is the kind of stuff that you talk about all the time, throwing that punch.
He's caught with his inside step here. You'll see him, he thinks he's going inside for whatever reason, maybe he bites on the head fake, but he's able to recover so well with his outside. He crosses over a little bit, but he's so athletic that he's able to sit down and in fact deliver quite a blow on this defensive end here. I think he falls down actually. Roll it. Yeah, he catches him off guard there. He's able to run him by. I mean, if that quarterback sits in that pocket, he's good. And that's coming off of a bite on an inside move. So you're seeing athletic moves like that are hard to come by at that age.
He helped finish off this drive here. Again, we're looking at one drive in one spring game, but this is the kind of stuff that you look for and you build into the offseason.
Yeah, this is a good second level block here. You like to see some nastiness. I do at least out of the linemen. So for a young guy to come out and deliver some nastiness at the second level, know his assignments at a big time environment in front of thousands of fans, I think this is stuff that gets me excited. Yeah.
Not one of those drag them into the ground ones, though, either. It's just stud up, right? So maybe that would have been worse if there was a blue jersey on the other side.
Maybe we'd see a little corkscrew block at the end of it there. But no, that's stuff you like to see, though, this early on in his career.
All right, one big spring in the bank there for Nicholas Petit-Frere. Looking like he could be the guy there at right tackle. There'll be a battle, of course, in August in training camp. There always is at Ohio State. But it looks like we're going to have a lot more opportunities for Reid to break down Nicholas Petit-Frere down in the future. So for Reid, I'm Austin Ward. We'll see you next time on Lettermen Row BuckIQ.